Hi everyone. Hi, my name is Anna and I'm here today with my special guest from Doula UK to bring you some of our volunteers and the staff members from Doula UK so you can get to know us and ask us questions as well about the volunteering, about membership, about everything you want to know. So hi Sara, how are you doing?
Hi, Anna. I'm good. Yeah, it's a snowy day here in Northern Ireland, so it's been a bit tricky driving around. But other than that, I'm good.
Yeah, I'm north from London, so we had frost and ice on the roads as well. So I know what you mean. Probably not snow this year. We'll see. But yeah, but it's interesting. It's nice. I like cold. Anyway, this is our first conversation, so let's just see how it goes. Hopefully, we'll be fine. We're very nervous, both of us, and so we'll try to tell you everything, and I'm going to ask some questions, Sara, today. So about her dueling, about her role with Doula UK. So I think the first one is mainly like, why did you become a doula?
It's a strange story, but actually has a lot to do with what doulas stand for in terms of self-care for parents and so on. So many years ago now, my husband pointed out to me that with two young children, I just spent all the time looking after them, and I never did something for myself. And at the same time, it just happened, or around the same time happened, that the possibility of doing doula training in Northern Ireland came up. And I had found out about doulas when I was pregnant with my first, and I was living in the middle of the Irish countryside and was looking for support. So I kind of knew what doula are and doula were at the time, but I never really looked into it any further. And then over the years, I kind of found out a bit more about the situation, about birth choices in Northern Ireland, birth choices in general for women. And so the two paths somehow combined at that point in time when my husband pointed out I never did anything for me. And the possibility of training up as a doula came up because my passion is really about women and people being heard and being able to voice their wishes and be listened to and being cared for. And that's why I decided to do my doula training and become a doula. I just have this passion for people to be respected overall and for birth rights in maternity care.
And how long are you a doula?
9 years now.
Is that my thing?
So great. Yeah, I did my training 9 years ago and then started working as a doula almost straight away.
Amazing. Would you, when you started and when you started working as a doula, attending births and postnatal visits, was there anyone or anything that influenced like your doula path, your work focus? Because we know like everyone is different. Some doulas go into postnatal work, some doulas go on only birth, maybe antenatal, hypnobirthing. Was there like a situation or like a moment or maybe a person like?
Well, there were a few things. Actually, quite interestingly, after I did my doula training, I did my training with Nurturing Birth. Sophie was the trainer and she came over here to Northern Ireland. I went into the training convinced that I wanted to be a postnatal doula, and I thought that was where my passion was. But quite interestingly, during the training, I realized actually being a birth doula was really what I wanted to do. And funny enough, that's what I have been doing ever since. But I think as I was growing into my role, one key person that actually helped me develop and find my path here in Northern Ireland was a person who's no longer officially a doula, but I'd say she still does lots of douling. Her name is Anne Harper, and she had also trained with Nurturing Birth, and she was a Doula UK member at the time. And she also recommended Maddie McMahon as a potential mentor, and then Maddie became a mentor as part of my Doula UK membership in the first few years. So Anne and Maddie really somehow helped me in those first few years. And then I think it's not a process that stops. We're always influenced by different people. And there would have been birth workers, mostly some very kind of, let's say, progressive consultants here in Northern Ireland, but also some of the doulas I work with now as part of our Doulas of Northern Ireland collective. Anne and Tara are really being helpful in supporting me in my journey through doulaing over the years. So quite a lot of people, and that's because we're a village, we're not just an island.
That sounds great. But I think you're right, like when we are going, as we're going and we're learning and attending more births and work with other people, we tend to move. So you have this idea in your head, like that you want to be this and that, but then you find your thing and enjoy this thing, but that thing can change with the time, and especially when our circumstances change, because very often new doulas have small children. So very often they say, especially when we do during the Doula UK circles, we talk about it, they start doula journey, but first maybe with a postnatal, which is more like predictive. But then once the children are growing up, going to school, now the opportunity comes to maybe start attending birth, and you can find that this is your thing, like really enjoy this really fast-paced environment. And it's really nice. Thank you for mentioning all these people, because I think that's really important. Although I know that being a doula can be very lonely journey, then we learning from more experienced doulas and practitioners, not only doulas, but also different practitioners in perinatal world. It's really important. So it's not just us alone in this world. And it's really good to hear. And I totally agree with you. Okay, so as we talked about you becoming doula and mentoring and just looking into some people doing similar things and having a support, do you have any tips for starting doulas? Let's see, like 3 tips for starting doula. Finished training and she's off in the world. What would you tell them?
I think I think it's very important to find your tribe and to find the people that can support you through the journey. That could be, other doulas, could be birth communities, but could also be, I don't know, friends or family or other people that, are supportive of what you want to do. And I think that really made a difference for me to have that kind of support, even from a few of the other people I did my training with, the fact that we could kind of chat about different things that were very specific to this region, and, being involved in some meetings to talk about birth. They all kind of were things that helped me find my path. And I think another thing is not to be overly worried about getting it right the first time, because it's fine to try different things until you find what works for you. And I think one very helpful thing is, although, obviously for many people, making this the main business might be what they want to do, is not to be too worried about what other people are doing or what it looks like on social media, but again, finding something that is true to yourselves and find something that works for you, and not just doing things because other people are doing that and that seems to be working, because what works for other people might not work for you. So, for example, I didn't have a website until a few years ago when I became part of the Doulas of Northern Ireland collective, and although that was probably against, having a profitable business, that suited my business model up to that time. So it's, different things work for different people.
Yeah, Good one. That is a good one. I really like the last one because the social media color is coloring life into this pink and rainbow colors, and you think like someone who's posting 2 or 3 times a day, every day, and they are so busy, lots of comments and stuff, but that might not suit you. Maybe you have small children, part-time work, and that's just not so it's totally okay to just go a different way.
I think it's finding the balance that works for each one of us at different point in time. You know, and it's also being mindful that not everyone who's looking for a doula is looking for the same things as well. And I know it's something that's mentioned at training, but, you know, I think it's important to remind ourselves, even experienced doula, that that's the case, that, you know, I might be the right doula for someone, and they might not be looking for the other doula that, you know, does lots of social media content or does certain things, and there is a reason why they come to me or they go to someone else. And I think it's one thing that, as well as doula, we develop when we have chats with potential clients, and we start very quickly to realize how it's a two-way process, and sometimes we know if we are a good match, and sometimes we know when we're not a good match with our clients. And I think a lot of what we do with our clients is the discussion around boundaries and wishes and so on. And sometimes we forget to do it ourselves as doulas.
Yeah, I think you're right, because it usually works in your favor if the clients don't choose you, because maybe it would be actually better, because I think it's very easy to get into this like circle, like you get an inquiry or on the email, and you're like, yes, another client, oh, so exciting, and you meet with these people, and you don't do this stuff, but you're gonna do this for the stuff for them, you're gonna be this doula for them. You are not into free birth, you don't feel comfortable, but they really want, they considering, and then you're like, but that's a client, I didn't have anyone for like in the last 3-6 months, so I'm gonna just take them, and then you can't, or like you don't do inductions, or you don't feel comfortable with anything. It's just kind of, it will work out. I do believe that if the clients will be throwing out of this conversation, it's always good. And also there's so many doulas around, so I remember for my first clients I got from other doulas because they were too busy, or they were like needed a shared care or something like that. So being just flexible and open is very important. But as you said, just setting a boundary for yourself as well. You don't need to be everyone and everything. And also kind of coming back to what we said about looking at other people, it's not about even your presence in the social media, but it's also about, don't do all the trainings in the world only because other doulas offer Reiki or postnatal yoga, baby massage, gong baths, yoga, what else then? Placenta encapsulation, everything. Everything, they do everything. And the problem is, when I spoke with the doulas that I work, or like I mentor, it's like, you don't do more trainings, because if you're not working, if you don't have any clients, you don't have this experience, you don't know where you're going, what you really want to do, and you don't getting this this skills, and just being with people. And if you do 120 courses, it's not necessarily get you more clients.
I agree. And and it's about, really, it's more about understanding what people want and how to support them, kind of being able to voice what they want, and being able for them to ask questions and all of those things. So it's more about it's more about emotional support and practical support. All the other things, are nice additions. And some of those things I did myself, and some of those things I talk about with my clients. But ultimately, we actually use very little normally of those things when they're in labor. And what they mostly want is someone to be there with them to breathe through surges or contractions, and to remind them to relax their shoulders and relax their forehead. And that's mostly what I end up doing most of the time, apart from
But also you can signpost people, because if you know that the other doulas in your area are doing all those stuff, you don't need to do them. You can specialize in other areas. But I want to say also is looking into like your pathway. If you're considering watching this now recording, and if you're considering becoming a doula, what is your focus? Like you are considering, can I do births or postnatal? The great way is to attend one of our doula intro workshops, because you can speak about the doula role from the perspective, not the course provider, but our organization that kind of is as a home for lots of course providers. So the person who's running our doula intros, they are not recommending one course, but they will give you the general knowledge about and insight into how the doula life look like, and help you navigate maybe into the direction that way you want to go. In other situation, if you are already a doula and you don't really have a clients yet, or you're starting out, please come to our doula circle, because we have experienced doulas coming in, and they can share their experiences with you and maybe just give you some tips that help you to get those first clients, or choose your direction, choose your life focus, your work focus. So I think we have everything for everyone. And if you want to do more, then you should definitely join us at Doula UK. And I wanted just to ask another question, because Sara is not here, like it's not a coincidence that Sara is here, because Sara is volunteering for Doula UK. Sara, do you want to just quickly tell us about what is your role and what you do in Doula UK?
So I volunteer for Doula UK as the course liaison. So I support the course providers. I'm the in between Doula UK and the course providers. When, for example, new course providers want to be approved, or when they're going through reapproval process, or all all of these steps that are required to become a Doula UK approved course. And because I've been a member now of Doula UK for 8 years, over the years, I always kind of thought that I wanted to give something back to the organization, because I realized that Doula UK is made up of the members, and a few of those members volunteer over the years to help running the organization. So really, I felt it would be nice to find a way to give it back, not just to the organization, but to the other members in the running of the organization. But I always struggle to find the volunteering role that I felt was kind of suited for me. It's a bit like, what kind of doula do you want to be? So when the opportunity for the course liaison came up, I thought, well, as a background, I'm an educator. I work in higher education, so I know about course approvals. I know about, kind of learning outcomes, learning objectives, all of these things. And I know about being a doula. So I think it might work out quite well. So I think I've been now course liaison for 2 years. And I really enjoy the process of both getting to know better the course providers, not just the one I train with, but also getting to know some of the other volunteers in Doula UK. And they've not even been the same in the last 2 years. People have come and gone. But I think it's very nice to have a bit more time to get to know some of the other people in Doula UK, even some of the other members. And I never really had that chance before, because I'm based in Northern Ireland. Clearly not even from here, based on the accent. But, I'm a bit far from most of the rest of the UK doula community. So although most of our meetings would have been online, I think what gave me a really big passion for Doula UK was when actually a few years ago, I managed to go to one of the annual conferences in London, and it just happened by chance that timing aligned. I had a friend in London who could host me, but being there in the same room physically with lots of doulas and meeting some of the volunteers at the time really got me thinking about what volunteers do, how they can contribute, and how members can help out the organization. And then since then I was just kind of waiting to see what things would come up that would align with me, and this did. And it's been a bit complicated by COVID, so that didn't help. But I got to know many interesting new people in the process. I got to know even different ways of doulaing. Not all of the Doula UK volunteers work in the same way. Some have different passions and different callings, even within the doula work. And for me, being a doula, it's a lot about personal connection, and I really enjoy that personal connection with other doulas.
Thank you. That was really great. I think it is interesting to see, especially if, like me or Sara, you are watching it from somewhere outside of the London, where the next doula is probably like an hour from you driving, A1 or something, that it's like not that close, and it is lonely sometimes. And I think when I joined the Doula UK, I felt like I can actually, even when I started, I wasn't doing that much. Like my role wasn't that extensive and it wasn't that much, but I draw a lot of knowledge and just experience from other doulas that are in the team, and just hearing them in the meetings talking about the social issues, the maternity crisis now. I learned a lot, because sometimes you'll just stay in your little bubble. For example, for some time, I think it's been a year, most of my births are home births, and I didn't have that much more experience with hospital. I kind of like detached myself for a minute, and it's good. It's good to hear all the different perspectives of different doulas working in different environments. Some doulas work only with free births, some only with home births, and some work with everyone and every place. So it is really interesting to hear about all those things. And as you mentioned, the AGM, I think this year we will have another one that is going to be, I think this is the third one that will be happening online. Yeah, so that's a place where you can attend as well. I think this is I think it's online, but it's the announcement probably will be coming shortly, or as we speak now, it's probably out there, or maybe you just watch it 1 year later or something. Thank you, Sara, for coming and having a chat with me. It was lovely to hear about you and your work, and how you joined the Doula UK, and I hope you will inspire someone today to type email, "Hi, I want to volunteer for you too."
I think it's worth mentioning that it's not a life commitment, and even in the short 2 years where I've been a volunteer, there's been volunteers that have come and gone. Maybe they tried, maybe they realized that it wasn't working for them, maybe they kind of got sidetracked onto something else because COVID didn't help. So it's also okay sometimes to try these things for 6 months or a year and then realize that they don't work for you. And sometimes you actually try and you find out that they're less daunting than you might have thought they were going to be. And even sometimes there's small things that can help. I know you mentioned the doula circles, and it's nice, to have even people willing to turn up for these doula circles and have a mix of younger and more experienced doulas. And, I know that even through the Facebook group for Doula UK members, even by reading through the posts, sometimes I learned quite a lot from other doulas. So I think that kind of engagement with the community, and the engagement with other doulas is also really part of what we are as doulas. And I see lots of interest and willingness in doulas to always improve maternity care and pregnancy care, and I think having that engagement also help, that engagement with the wider community.
And I think that's the reason why people volunteer, is not just to give to the organization, but also it give you a lot. You learn a lot, and you develop as a person, and you feel needed and appreciated. So it is really, really good. And as I said that, because especially in the doula work, it's usually lonely work. So it is really good. Very often though, people who just started the doula journey, they will say, oh, I'm not that experienced, but it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter at all. If you don't have any experience, but you just finished the doula course, that's the best way for you to just step up and engage with people and speak with other doulas to find your pathway. So getting to volunteering, you don't need to have 10 years experience to be a volunteer, to do something. You just need to have few hours per month, and that's it. That's what we need. Okay, all right. Thank you again, Sara, and hopefully you have an amazing day. And thank you again for coming. And I hope to see you, whoever is watching us, soon with some other fascinating, exciting guests. So
yeah, and you're welcome, Anna. And I think if anyone has questions, I can just add comments, and we can get back to them through the comments, and we can reply to any questions there too.
Yep. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So let us know in the comments if you want to have a chat. If you need any support, or you have questions about becoming a volunteer, or anything about anything, you can always email admin@Doula UK, or straight into my inbox, which is community@Doula UK, so I can have a chat with you. All right. Thank you, and have a great day.
Thank you, Anna. Bye.